May it please the court. It is November 2nd, 2015, and Lynn Stark has just accepted a new job at a new restaurant, Taste of Tantera. She's hoping that this new job will finally bring her poor mother and gravely ill sister to the United States, or at least provide some sort of relief. She moves into the apartment above the restaurant at the request of her boss, Cameron Aubrey. Cameron Aubrey asked for her legal documents and passports, which were never given back. She started to work 90 hours a week so that she can earn enough money to bring her family to the United States, but was only paid $500 the first month and $400 for the next 3. It is now 2016, and Lynn is still working at Taste of Tantera. She learns that her sister is dying. So Lynn decides to go back home for a short while, but is denied any vacation by the defendant. She storms back up to her apartment and is locked in. The door is now locked and she cannot find her key. It is stolen. Stolen by the defendant. She's trapped in her own apartment with barred windows. She feels overwhelmed. Her sister is dying, her mother is aging, and her baby niece lives in Tantera, and she can't do anything to help them. As the people, we have charged the defendant with 2 crimes, human trafficking and false imprisonment. California Penal Code 246.1 defines human trafficking as 1, the deprivation of another person's liberty, and 2, the attempt to obtain forced labor and other services from the victim. Cameron Aubrey's actions follow these 2 definitions to a T. As the prosecution, we have the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of these 2 charges. Let's take the elements of human trafficking one at a time to show you, members of the jury, that we have met this burden. You heard from Officer West, Lynn Stark, and the defendant herself saying that they had taken away Lynn's legal documents, not allowing Lynn to find another job or leave. This evidence will show that the defendant had deprived the victim of her personal liberty. The final bit of evidence, the victim, Julian Blake, and Officer West heard on several occasions the defendant threatening to deport Lynn because she wasn't working fast enough. This final bit of evidence shows that Cameron Aubrey is indeed a human trafficker. He obtained forced labor from Lynn because she wasn't working fast enough. She would be deported. Lynn Stark was most definitely terrified of the thought of being deported. She still needed to help her family come to the U.S. and live the life they needed. California Penal Code 236 defines false imprisonment as the unlawful restraining, detainment, or confining of a person. Let's take the elements of false imprisonment one at a time to show you we have met this burden as well. With the evidence provided, we know that the defendant trapped the victim in her room without a way out, forced her to work long hours with minimal pay, and threatening the victim of deportation. You heard from Dana Greyjoy that Lynn received $2 per hour. That's $8 below California's minimum wage. Also, you heard from the victim that once she walked into her apartment, the door was slammed behind her, and the defendant saying, "You better get comfortable in here. It's going to be a while before you're going anywhere." She checked under the dresser where her key was supposed to be, but it was gone. She had no way out. Once released from captivity, Cameron questioned Lynn by asking, "Missing your key?" and laughed mockingly while walking away. This evidence shows the defendant unlawfully detained the victim in her room. Also, the defendant acted in such a way that forcefully confined Miss Stark in her apartment throughout the night. Lynn Stark was just trying to help her dying sister, aging mother, and her baby niece to come to the United States so they can live the life they needed. The life she thought they deserved. She's working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and was only paid $2 an hour. After telling her boss, the defendant, her sister, was going to die, she asks time to. The defendant denies any vacation to go see her sister one last time. She gets angry. She goes back up to her apartment and is locked in. She waits till morning and it's still locked. She bangs on the door desperately. Lynn is finally let out by a mocking Cameron Aubrey. She later writes a note to a fellow customer and officer that she is treated like a slave. Members of the jury, we have proven to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the crimes of human trafficking and false imprisonment. We the people ask you to find the defendant guilty because she took her key, her ID, and her liberty.